Hi everyone, this is Jesse Neuman here. Musicworks session 302 is geared towards high school, college, and adult students. We are going to go over an amazing composition by trumpeter, jazz musician Ron Miles called Born Liar. This song is off of his album called Woman's Day. It features Bill Frisell on guitar, who's a fantastic jazz improviser, Rudy Royston, very sensitive and creative drummer, Kent McLagan playing bass, who also plays in Ron's trio, and some really interesting compositions. Ron Miles is a huge, huge influence on my playing and musicianship. He has this beautiful trumpet sound that's very breathy and airy and open. He never plays too loudly. There's a real sort of focused, like honest, almost like a humble kind of thing about his playing. He doesn't use a ton of reverb. It's very just sort of like what you see is what you get. And he does a great service to trumpet players who often get pigeonholed as being very blasty or showy or flashy. He doesn't get into any of that. His compositions are fantastic as well. This one is called Born Liar, and it's a great title. We're going to go through several sections, and when you get to the end of the piece, he sort of like recombines the melody and one of the solo sections in this interesting way that makes you kind of see or hear it differently, almost like the way a really creative lie would be told. And It's got some excellent chords for improvising over. It's got some beautiful melody lines, and just the pacing of it is fantastic as well. So first thing is, I would highly recommend you just listen to the song all the way through with no music or anything in front of you. It's 11 minutes and 18 seconds. It's the best 11 minutes and 18 seconds of your day, of your week by far. So I'll pause for you to do that. And now through the magic of technology, you're back. I'm going to go through section by section and stop and start a lot to talk about what's going on, or at least what I hear is going on. And obviously, you can go back and forth with this video and redo sections at your own pace. I may annotate a couple things, and I can also include some parts for different keyed instruments. This is a concert part, and it's sort of like a simplified version of the form of the whole song. So not every little bit of information is in here, but enough that you can sort of see what's going on. All right, let's take a listen to the very beginning. As soon as it starts, you're going to notice the quality of sound and the care that they all put into the sounds that they're producing. So let that sort of be your guide to introducing you to the vibe that they're setting here, and then we'll stop in a little bit to talk about some of the technical elements going on. They just finished that first line. Now they're going to repeat it for the B section. And then they just redo that tag. All right, so I'm going to stop there for a second. Amazing sound quality and delicate kind of touch. One thing that I see in this song is you have three sort of types of moves, and without getting into too specifically what chords and what notes are doing in each chord, let's just take a look at this beginning line. You have kind of like um, a rising line, a sort of like rising amount of information, tension. You know, all music goes from tension to release. So here we're coming into like a rising motion. Then you have a little bit of a tense section, and then you have a resolution. Okay. Um, you have the same thing. So let's listen to what that sounds like. Here's that first phrase. Rising up. That's definitely a tense chord right there. Here we resolve. We have another little rise here. And then this is a tense chord they land on. And then this whole cadence is there for you to arrive back at that tonic note, E flat, okay? So you're gonna see this kind of move happen lots of different places in the song, and one of the reasons it's particularly important is that when we get down here to this free solo section, a lot of people are gonna say like, well, what does that mean? Like free improv, does that mean just like go for anything in the world? It's a long conversation and a long journey of skills to master for me to say like, well, here's how you do free soloing or free improvisation would be kind of like saying like, here's how you play tennis at a professional level, or like, here's how you become a neurosurgeon. Like there are lots and lots of steps, and there are also many degrees of success, or I don't want to put it in terms of success and failure, but degrees of proficiency and eloquence in that mode. So just starting off right here, when you get to this free solo section, you're going to hear many of the members of the ensemble doing different things that mimic these lines, doing kind of rising motions, settling into tense little bits and letting them hang there, and then also landing on something and resolving it. So let's go through one more time, listen to the second phrase, and we'll see if we can draw that one out as well. Again, we have that rise. Here's that tension. You hear a little more filling in this time. Here, this lands here. Coming up. Tense. And this whole move is just a cadence. Kind of playful with that little waltzy 3/4 thing. Then they just repeat that whole cadence. Okay, and then we kind of get the end of this first section. So one more time, if you look at these phrases, even if you don't see it exactly that way in terms of rising or tension or resolution, you might have your own terms or ways of hearing it in your head. There are definitely some sort of there's a syntax to this whole movement, right? It's not just this melody that flows over everything, uh, um, sort of like equal opportunity, right? There are definitely moments of ebb and flow in the tension or the energy or the information it's giving. So however you see that, I encourage you to kind of follow that along, because like I said, it's going to come up in this free section, and then it's going to come up again when we move through the solos. There's sort of like a groove number 1 solo, there's a groove number 2 solo, and then we get into this kind of like last bit of the solo that involves a melody too. So that whole idea comes back. Also listen to how the second time through there's some more embellishment. So like we're at B here, there's some more embellishment happening with the rest of the band on this second line through. So you'll hear like the bowed bass adding some tones. You'll hear the guitar add some tones afterwards. This is all part of the improvisation in that they're adding to the overall feel of the harmony and the melody. Again, you've got trumpet playing the melody, guitar playing the melody. You've got pizzicato bass playing the harmony. You've got arco bass. So there are two acoustic bass players on this track. Arco bass is sort of playing the bass part and also a harmony. And then you have drums who are kind of like adding all these little um, uh, atmospheric kind of textures and little pushes and pulls in the rubato tempo. Let's listen one more time, and then we'll get into this free solo section. And this free solo section develops, it's not too long, but you'll hear a couple things happening, and then you're going to hear them click into D when we get to this groove. Okay, so I'll try to land you on that groove, and we'll go one more time from the beginning. Notice how much silence there is in all these phrases, too. I'm going to pause it just for 1 second. So there's a lot of information coming out here. If you weren't paying very close attention, you could almost like be hearing this in the background and think that it's just continuing with the melody. When you're looking at the music and seeing in the form this spot for free solo, you can start to notice that they're really improvising these melodies. But what are the elements of play here, right? You've still got trumpet. Well, you still got all the instruments playing melodies. You still got several, so the trumpet's playing melodies, the guitar's playing melodies. You hear the arco bass as well. You still got counter lines. And if you listen to, like, for example, if you try to do a pass just listening to trumpet and pizzicato bass, right? You can hear how those two things function. Or you could do arco bass and drums, or you could do guitar and drums. Sometimes choosing two instruments, one instrument or two instruments to follow through is a good way to do it. It's almost like if you're watching a basketball game, if you were scouting a player, or if you're trying to break down what the team was doing, you might want to watch one of their key players and follow them all around the court, even when they don't have the ball. So some kind of thing. Everybody's passing the ball back and forth, but you can follow one line or the other. You have the melody and the harmony. The melody and the counterline combined make a harmony, right? And you have rhythm. In particular, as we get closer to the end of this section and go towards the groove, you'll hear the drummer Rudy Royston start to play like little bits of a groove, and then he backs off, and then he plays a little bit more, and so there's like 6 beats of a groove, and then 4 beats of another groove, and then 3 beats. So he's starting to set up the idea of like a steady tempo happening. He's just not there yet, right? Also, again, think about the sound quality, like the skill it takes and that you'd have to use yourself to put these sounds out there that are going to clash at times. Some of the notes are going to clash. Your rhythm Maybe you may come in on a phrase that's slightly faster than someone else, slightly slower, and so that's going to clash. So you almost have to like make up for that dissonance by putting forth the most beautiful sound you can. Even though some of these chords or some of the melodies may be dissonant, like mathematically, the quality is really very high and beautiful. So let's go back to that one more time. We'll listen to this free section sort of coming out of here, and then I'm going to point you in when we get to these grooves, okay? Here comes the free improv part. Low note, guitar note. Oh, low trumpet note, lower bass note. Right there's a little move where the trumpet goes boom, 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 boom. The bass goes boom, 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 boom. So it's almost like they're coming together, kind of like this little cadence thing, right? They're mimicking some of the moves from this earlier part of the song. So in this part, you can really hear lines crossing. Some of them are going up, some are going down, but they kind of like swell volume-wise and swell and come back and swell and come back like as an ensemble. So it's almost like someone's conducting or they're going through, again, the motions of these phrase, phrase, phrase in that sort of pacing. They're going to come up to the groove very soon. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just in this F minor thing now, right? And we're going to transition soon to A flat major. Right there is the major. So that, getting back to the title, this Born Liar, like that is a really great move right there. It's almost like they come into this groove and the guitar player who's taking the first solo, for lack of a better word, is like trying to find the chord, the right chord. It almost sounds like he's like not tuning, but playing a string, playing on the string, trying this one, and adding them up slowly. And we finally gets right here, he just goes boom, 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 and then they all know to land right there. It's very subtle and it's very sneaky, but if you listen to that line coming up and you'll hear the bass change. So boom, 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 ba-da-da, boom, 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 ba-da-da, boom, 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 boom. We go from the minor chord to the relative major, the 4, the major chord, the 4, the major chord. Okay. These numbers, I put eight measures here and 8 measures here, like an 8-measure phrase at D, 8-measure phrase at E. Those are a little arbitrary, and they're just for soloing when we're playing it as an ensemble. They kind of, I think, just cue each section. So let me go back to the beginning of that groove. We're in F minor. Listen to the transition going from the minor chord to the major chord. And then I'm going to show you when we come in here, and you'll see that we've got some similar phrases as our rising and tense and resolution action in this last kind of section. It's kind of like solo first part, solo next part, solo last part. All right, D, E, and F. Let's go back a tiny bit. Three, 4, 5, 6. Figuring out these notes, a little strum, witty comment, witty comment. Comes major. Rise, resolve. Cadence. This is a very tense chord going back to the solos here. We've got trumpet solo here over the F minor groove. I'm going to go through it one more time without marking it up. See if you can get a sense, or I'll let you think about how you interpret which phrases are creating tension, which are resolving, etc. And then we'll go through it. So let's go to the trumpet solo now. We're repeated back. We're doing so we're doing D, E, and F for more solos. Now this is a trumpet. Now this transition, the major, is a little trickier. Major. Here we go. I love that line. It's so pretty. Solo. All right, so I'll let you have 2 listens through it. So this is sort of how I see it. Again, this is just my take on it. But if you look here, when we come out of this vamp here, we get to this A flat major 7 sharp 5. This is a pretty tense chord, right? So we've got a little bit of tension building here. Then we sort of rise up into this major chord. But really, this major chord is just functioning so we can resolve on the minor. This really beautiful, I don't even totally sure that's a 7. It might just be A minor, like just a really stacked up triad. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da-da. Beautiful right there. And then we lift up a little bit here. Ba-da-da-da-da. This is definitely a strange altered chord. And then ba-da, and we kind of sit for a second here. All right. Ba-da-da-da. Here's an A minor, but it's functioning differently. So we're rising up a little bit. Cadence to major, ba, blah, and this is like Crazy Town right here, okay? Let's listen back to the solo and see how that works out. This is now going back the 3rd time, okay? He's going to use this very cool hemiola in his solo. It goes ba 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 ba. He's going to start outlining arpeggios until he sort of brings us and cues the band with this major chord. All right, it's really well done. Listen to this. Right there. Listen one more time. Guitar thing happening. And we're moving on now. Here we go. Ba-da. Here for a second. Here we go. I'm going to pause it for 2 small things. One is I'm going to change my mind about this. I actually think this is sort of more, he's sort of still rising here. I mean, if we're going to do this, might as well do it right. So again, rising, tension. This is a little bit of a lift, but it is really still kind of rising towards something. And I think he does kind of, I think he does really land again here on the A minor, all right? Also, this thing, I love how the last time through, when it's the trumpet solo, he gets to this kind of Crazy Town chord, and he doesn't even play. He just lets the drummer do like the sort of punkist rock version of this quiet, relaxed type song. Possible one's just like, and you hear the guitar player just and let that cluster kind of ring out, yeah? Then, so they're going to end their solo, and then I'll go on. He's going to then play through this melody, I think twice. And so now he's like done solo groove beginning, solo groove next, last part of the solo. We did that for guitar, we did it for trumpet, we did it again for trumpet. Now they're sort of like cueing the band to go on, and they're going to all play this melody at F. I think they do it twice. So let's go back a tiny bit, and we'll check out this adjusted chord thing, and then we'll finish it out. Still rising. Here we go. 1, 2, cadence to here. Perfect line. One more time. Now they'll bring the whole band in here. I mean, even, I hate to stop it, but even listen to like the variety of guitar strums, like even just landing on this big resolution chord, which you think would be enough in itself. He has like a chord and then he kind of goes strums on a different part of the neck and you get like a couple of different little iterations of that chord. The arco bass as well too is just like so much richness in the way they're presenting uh, all these little harmonic twists, and it just like gives so much shape and motion. I mean, this song never really comes above like that's a forte maybe, so they're really giving a lot of motion and richness to uh, the whole section, and all those little moves pile up and add to it. This is the end of his melody. Now they bring the whole band in. Guitar. Continues that line down. We'll sweep up. All right, so we're just about to get to the end, which is the coolest part of the piece, hands down. What happens at the end is they're going to play this Crazy Town chord, and then they're going to go back to this groove. They actually go back to the major groove. So I put it down here, right? So after all this, the very, very, very last time, we're going to go here. And we're going to play this section groove. We're going to play this groove here. Boom, 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 boom. So it's the same as what we did in the beginning. The same as what we did in the solo section. But the melody is going to be the melody from the A section. So we're going to go back to boom, 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 boom. This goes on forever, forever, forever. And then rubato, they're going to play this line. And so just like this title, Born Liar, you're going to see what they said before takes on like a very different meaning in the context of these major chords. And all these notes fit in different kinds of ways. It's such a cool effect. They play it together, like they have the melody and then the tempo going on underneath it, and you have the different kinds of tension and release happening. And then I think maybe after the second time, the drums and the pizzicato bass start to kind of break down and become just all mush and ebb and flow when we go into the rubato thing again. And the whole song ends with like 30 seconds of just bizarro, like the last chord. It's really, really great. So here we go. We're coming out of, they played that melody at F twice. We're coming out of that and going into the very last section, this mashup of the solo groove and the melody from the beginning of the song. establishing that really open major sound, very simple harmony. So just when you thought they were gonna kind of vamp out on that end, they bring in this melody. Now that beat's kind of falling apart. They're all just kind of mushing together. And we have almost like a free solo happening over this melody. And one more time, we're going to cadence here. And then just stretch. You can hear him put the bass down. And they fed on that loop. So good. Ron Miles is amazing. I hope that this, what we went through with the different types of phrasing, what we talked about here, the elements of the free solo, the way they go from minor to major in the solo section, and then they kind of play it out. So they're improvising over these chords, which are a little more complicated, but follow a similar kind of ebb and flow, right? And then that part at the end where, let's see if I can find it, where they bring that groove back. This part is amazing, where they're playing this groove, also playing that melody on top of it, that real, like, actually makes you feel like they're kind of lying to you. It's a fantastic piece. So many personal sounds in there. Definitely solo overable in here, and also in here, and luckily, you don't have to go super fast or loud or flashy, but it is difficult, even more difficult in some ways, because it is so refined and nuanced, and they're really picking out the phrases that just say what needs to be said so discreetly. The album, again, I'll put up here, is called Woman's Day. By Ron Miles. It's a fantastic album. Lots of surprises and interesting bits and pieces in there. Do some more listening. Enjoy your playing, and we will see you soon. Again, this has been Musicworks, session number 302, Born Liar by Ron Miles. I'm Jesse Neuman. Thanks so much.